Welcome back to another episode of Owning the Weight podcast. I'm your host, Jillian and today we're continuing our conversation with physical therapist and breath specialist, Ashley Kumar, my good friend. Thanks for being here again. And today on the podcast, we're going to be covering connection and purpose and how that ties into thrive, just don't survive. So can you tell me why you feel like connection and purpose landed a spot in this thrive, don't just survive course you were putting together?
Yeah, I think if you miss connection and purpose, you miss the whole thing, right? Of feeling better, feeling your best. I don't know if anybody remembers back whenever there was COVID and like how you felt being lonely and isolated. I think of, the book, the Bible is how it says about people who have leprosy. You know, whenever you had COVID, like it was like you were a leper.
Oh my God.
Nobody wanted to be around you.
Yeah.
You're isolated. I had COVID twice, maybe 3 times. So, and then too, just the fact like not being able to go into work and like isolating. And
well, just think about how it affected like the high school kids so much. I think a lot of them were affected pretty bad because
really were.
It was like living on social media, even magnified. So it was more false like connection than actual real connection.
Yeah.
You ever notice like when you talk to people on Instagram, it can be super easy and it's like you feel like you know them, but like when you go to meet someone in person, it's awkward because you actually have to talk to people and look them in the eye and shake their hand and like
it's a totally different thing, right?
It's different. Yes.
Yeah, there's like a disconnect, unfortunately, between just iPhone to iPhone versus human to human connection. So I think that connection, if you miss this part, I think you miss a lot. And so like I was saying in the previous podcast about how with the Superhuman book that I read by Dave Asprey, I was just going to think my way through this. You know, I'm going to try to do all the science-backed stuff and do more. And it's actually sometimes doing less, sleeping more, resting more, and then connecting more into like my purpose in life and following my passions, you know, and being able to be compassionate about helping others. And then that's whenever the fireworks really started to go off and I really started to feel better. And then having just presence of friends to help to build me up. So
I remember watching you go through all this. I've been friends with Ashley. I mean, gosh, how old's Roman?
He
7?
is 6.
6?
Yeah, 6.
So right before Roman. So 7 years I've been friends with Ashley.
Real good friends. We've known each other for a while, but like we became really good friends then.
Yeah. And you didn't have your kids then. So I knew like normal Ashley. Then I knew Ashley going through chaos. Then I knew sleepy fucking tired Ashley. Who always looked like just a hot mess.
Ashley, get here on time. Come on, girl. Always late.
Always late and frazzled. A hot
Crazy
mess.
frazzled, yeah.
I used to be like, Ashley's a hot mess.
And I almost used to thrive off of being late. It was like this anxious state that I was okay with. And I was like, I kind of like to be pushed and pressured. And now I'm like, I don't have to have that feeling of anxiety to push to be somewhere. I can actually get up earlier, enjoy my morning instead of running and racing through the house. I did the running, racing through the house for years, you know, and like that'll wear on you.
So talk to me about this connection. So I can remember when you were in the thick of it with your boys. Ashley's got Irish twins. They're back to back. Actually, how many months are they?
14 months apart.
Wow. So, wow.
I was 3 months. Roman was 3 months old whenever I found I was pregnant with Tatum. I was whitewashed when I found out. I almost fell off the toilet when I read that pregnancy test. It's like, oh my gosh, this isn't happening to me. I'm a planner.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't happen to me. It's like the first thing, you know, is God saying, listen, I've got a plan for you. You're not going to be in charge on this one. Bye-bye, control.
Oh my gosh. So walk me through, you've always been very outgoing, a lot of friends. You're like a magnet. Then you go through this, and Ashley has a career, so she was still practicing through all of it. I remember practicing sometimes.
Trying to be full-time.
She would come home, take care of her kids, and then Ashley would text me sometimes at 10:45. I'd be asleep, but she'd be texting me because she had just finished or was working on her clients. What do you call
evaluation?
That? Yeah.
The evaluations would take me like 2 to 3 hours to type up, you know, because I put my heart into taking care of my tribe and my people at work.
Every night you'd be up late.
Till 11 or 12.
So during this time, you didn't have many friends. I remember because you
were my only friend.
I seeked you out to be friends with you.
Yeah.
Because I was very drawn to you.
Yeah.
And I don't remember you having many friends.
I didn't have any friends. I was very isolated then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So talk to me about like when you had that aha moment, you're getting yourself healthy, all the logic stuff in your brain, you're sleeping better, you're eating better, you're exercising, and then the connection and purpose. Walk me through like realizing that was a gap.
Yeah, I don't even think I was fully better yet. It was really whenever my youngest was no longer needing me to wipe his butt, put on his diapers, you know, feed him, take him to every single bathroom. Whenever you have a young child, like you are literally taking care of them just like you're taking care of yourself. But unfortunately, a lot of moms are not able to take care of themselves as much, right? Because they have their kids to take care of and keep them alive. So you're in survival mode. So as whenever Tatum hit about 2.5 and he was starting to be able to do more, that I literally was like, one day I woke up and I met another good girlfriend, Grom, on Mother's Day. It was like I think just God just planting seeds, friend seeds. And it all happened about the same time. And I woke up and I got like, it was a day. Like I woke up and I said, man, I don't have any friends, girl. Like I want you to start watering your friend flowers and thinking about like 3, because I think it was I think you did a friend podcast.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of a little bit of a hit that you were like, I pick out 2 to 3, 3 to 4 really awesome, good girlfriends that you want to.
It was just women that you want to pursue. I said women. I've picked 3 girls I wanted to pursue, all of which I'm still friends with today. If you guys want to listen to that podcast, it's great. It's a long time ago. It's Do You Even Have Friends? And I feel like I went through what Ashley went through just probably 4 years before Ashley. And
how old was your youngest, Sal? At that time that you decided that?
Probably around, well, I pursued you during that Bible study. So it would have been when right before your kids were born. So is when I went through it.
Yeah.
And my kids are what, 5-6 years older than yours?
I feel like it's a season. It's another seasonal change, you know, that we go through another chapter. So yeah, so I just started that. You honestly probably were thinking about it were the reason why I figured out that connection's so important. And like you were a big, big help for me because you were there for me during the crazy times.
I remember
you bringing me over boob bars, is what you called them. The baby bars, Mama Mary raw bars, a whole like platter full of them while I was breastfeeding.
Yeah.
I mean, literally those children, I love my boys, but like they suck the life, like your life force, right? You have them, you make them, and then you expel them out of you quickly, right? In the placenta. And then you're breastfeeding them. So you're still like providing for them. So you're giving a lot of yourself to them. And if you don't take care of putting in, like giving yourself back to them, or to yourself, then that's where I think the depletion starts to happen of your own life force, right?
Oh, wow, that's powerful. So your depletion really starts as you give to them if you don't give back to yourself.
That's right. And that's
your
what
life
happened
force.
To me.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I think it happens to a lot of us. You know, some of us catch it maybe quicker than others. Some maybe struggling 10, 15 years later and have never put themselves in a position of priority.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you create more meaningful connection?
So, I mean, I would say always start with like your immediate family. If you can kind of look at these relationships, right? So immediate family, what's your connection with them? Does it need to be more loved? Do you need to be watering that a little bit more? But if it's really toxic, do you need to set healthy boundaries and still feel at peace with your loved ones, you know? So I've had to learn some of those the hard way. And next, I think up is friends, right? But you got to take care of your family first, your family, your husband, your kids, and then you go out to your mom, your dad, if you have brothers or sisters, and
your husband's family.
How are those relationships? And look inward at those relationships. And then I think it's those friends. You know, once you get some time to build those healthy friends. Just how much they can elevate you. So after you had said that about the 2 to 3 friends, I literally thought about a couple of friends that I really wanted to be friends with and positive influences on my life. And
you want to give those 3 girls a shout out? Who was it?
Yeah, definitely you and Chelsea. I think Chelsea just kind of emerged out of you. And she's just such a positive influence. And then I could go into, you know, quite a few other ladies, LA, Grom, who else? Hannah, like just some other women that have been really positive influences on my life. And those ladies you all have like really elevated me and how I believe in myself, because I didn't really believe in myself for a long time looking back. And just being around people that are not toxic or not judgmental, but are just there to love you and nurture you and help you grow and see you grow and you see them grow and you guys are working together versus you're jealous. A lot of women are jealous of each other. Having women that just love on you and promote you. And it just helped me so much with like believing in myself. And that's why I truly believe like I'm able to speak on this podcast with you and share so much of these things that I went through, because I never would have had the courage to do that before. So
Wow.
I feel like these friends have been monumental in
your well-being.
In my well-being, yeah. But you had said like make sure you water those friend flowers.
I said that
in your podcast. I
That's
believe
funny.
you did. So like you would call me whenever you're just driving, be like, hey, I'm just gonna call to talk. And like before I was like, who just calls me to talk? Like back in high school, I think my girlfriends and like some of my girlfriends.
Yeah, but those
in
are
college,
some of like the best,
but like
best friends.
I was like,
talk about nothing.
Talk about nothing. And I was like, wow. And like after you get off the phone with me, like all my oxytocin would just be like bing, releasing as I was driving to work. I'd be so happy. Like you would just change my day. Like it was awesome. So, water your friend flowers, right? And then doing life together, but just really watch out for those toxic friends and relationships. And maybe weed out those weeds, and then get those good, strong flowers in the bed.
So let's talk a little bit about like tangible, actionable steps because Ashley and I are pretty outgoing. We're not going to act like we're not. We're very chatty. If you're more quiet, how do you give some advice to somebody who is a quiet, a little more reserved? I mean, we all feel insecure at times. We see these girls we want to become friends with. Why? Like, what is drawing you to them? Like, when I think about the 3 women I seeked out, they were in the same one. 2 of them were in the fitness industry, both family oriented. And then Ashley having kids just like mine. We were in a Bible study together. We had that to share. So there was like these things that drew me to them. So it's like having a topic to share. And sometimes like if you just reach out to someone, you can start chatting with them on Instagram. To be honest, the way I became friends with Amy Rivera was she was actually an influencer through Fit Flavors. And I just thought she was the coolest girl. And I picked up the phone. I called her one day and we talked for 35 minutes. She was like, this is the coolest call I've ever received. And I'm like, just reaching out to chat. And that's literally how we became friends. I'll never forget. We shared so much that day. Huh. And then I probably called her a couple more times and then we hung out and now you're friends with her.
Yeah. Yeah, we do talks together. She's the lymph girl and I'm the breath girl. So it just really works. Yeah. It's just really cool to see how God works and moves and just continues to bring light to good things. I mean, you have been such an inspiration to my life, Jillian.
Oh,
so
thanks.
I appreciate that.
I would just say like, you got to put yourself out there. That would be my tangible advice for people when they're like, yeah, I want to make new friends. Just got to try.
Just got to try.
I know there is that fear of rejection, but like you're not doing yourself any good by not even trying.
Yeah.
And if people are good, genuine people that you honestly want to become true friends with,
authentic,
they're going to be receptible. I remember one thing you said to me that was very bold. This was very early on at TMI, probably our friendship. Where I kind of pissed Ashley off. I did something that wasn't very kind. And she said to me, she goes, I don't have time for people that are I don't even remember how you said it, but you're like, I don't have time for this shit in my life. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I was in survival mode. So I was like, I ain't got time for anything.
And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose her as a friend. Like I really did the wrong thing. So I went through, I took ownership of what I did. I said a whole apology. She forgave me. We moved on. We actually became better friends after that.
Yeah, we did. And I think that creates accountability.
Yes.
So I helped you to create accountability for yourself. Mm-hmm. And whenever we have good friends that keep us accountable, we become a better version of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So like think about like whether you're going through something like an addiction or something that you can't make happen on your own. Sometimes I struggle with reading the Bible, like I really struggle with adding that into my life. So having you around and other friends around that keep me focused and, keep me in my faith is very helpful.
It's that group of people. They're either going to pull you up or they're going to keep you just right where you are. They're going to suck you down.
Yeah.
So you got to look at your friends. Are they pulling you down? Are they keeping you where you are? Or are they pulling you up?
Right.
And that's another thing. If you're like trying to grow or become more successful in your life, getting friends that are doing bigger things and different seasons of life is sometimes a good thing because you will be exposed to new things.
Right.
And so
you'll grow.
In even diversifying your friends in different ways, you're going to learn new things.
Right.
I can speak on that just from being in my growth group. Like the ladies that are in my growth group, I mean, they're all business owners. They're so experienced in life and business. And so I'm constantly learning. I'm like a sponge when we have those meetings.
I really think it's like why AA is so successful. Alcohol Anonymous is just because you're going around other people that have one thing in common, right?
Yep.
And there's no judgment. And so for your growth group, you guys all have one main thing in common. And then there's no judgment being brought forward. You guys are just there to support each other. But like that's connection. Right there is connection.
Yeah, it's huge. And we go on the retreats every year. It's some of the best times that we have together.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about why finding purpose gives meaning to life.
Yeah. So I want to say something before we move on from connection real quick about moms and their busy season.
Okay.
Because I don't want you as a mom, if you've got a newborn baby or a baby that's, a little kid, right? A little one that depends on you to keep them alive. Just remember to give yourself grace. Like I said, I didn't have any friends whenever my kids were really young. And I feel like that's okay. Right?
I was the same place. It's like a season, but recognize that you're ready to get out of that season.
Yes, recognize you're ready so you don't stay lonely, right? But the timing is everything. So the timing must be right, mamas, right? To the listener out there. So if you feel stuck in survival mode and you're taking care of your kids, sometimes adding more to your to-do list, your daily list can be more draining on you, more energy pulling. So, that's where I feel like a lot of my moms and myself, my friends that are moms, they say that they have this loss of pre-motherhood identity, right? Losing independence, and they're shifting, their previous career identity. And that's okay, right? It's change and it's another season and you're going to grow from it. So I think like during the busy season for moms, you got to give yourself a lot of compassion and grace, and then finding support maybe from other new moms, or carve out some small self-care tips or small self-care moments. And like redefine your goals, because their goals are going to be totally different. Like if all you did that day was feed breast milk to your baby, like you're doing awesome. Like you're keeping your child alive, right? Versus like after the child is 4, you're like going to work, and it's like those are awesome goals. So redefining the goals is huge, and then learning to say no to the things that you don't need to do. But I'd say one thing, like we talked about, is like, Jillian, you taught me this. Like Ashley, if you don't give anything to yourself and take time for you, you're not being selfish. You're not being selfish. Stop having so much mom guilt. Because if mama don't have any life force or energy, right, to keep going, how can she show up to be the best version of herself for her family? So that's like how the self-care journey started for me. But finding time for you just a little bit and not feeling guilty about it, I think is important for new moms too, But yeah, so once your child gets more independent, you can always go back to that. And then that's maybe whenever it's time to start finding out those 3 best friends that you want, or those 3 women.
You're the 3 best friends that anyone could have.
Anyone could have. But like, I think it's important for the moms that are like, oh my gosh, yeah, I need to find 3 more friends, but I'm busy as can be. I have 3 little kids under the age of 3. Like, timing ain't right, girl. Like, you're all right. Chill. There's another season to come.
Yeah, you just sometimes are going a little crazy with all the kids and you don't have like any adult time,
Yeah.
So, I feel you. Let's go back. Let's jump back to that purpose.
Yeah.
You call this connection and purpose. How does finding purpose give you meaning for life?
Yeah. This is huge for me. I've had many purpose times of big draws of like, what is my purpose? I feel very, very strong that God has a hand in my life and he gives me very clear direction. I must tell people sometimes, which I'm going to tell you guys 2 of my big stories. He almost like takes me by the throat and he's like, Ashley, listen to me. You need to listen to me. Stop getting so distracted. So, but yeah, finding purpose gives meaning to life because it gives us direction and motivation and a sense of fulfillment. And it helps us understand our why. Like, why do we get out of bed? And that brings a deeper layer, I think, of meaning to our experiences. Mm-hmm. But we got to ask ourselves, like, why you get out of bed every day? Mm-hmm. What makes you get up, Jeff? He's got, what's your why? Jeff Lavecchio in his gym. What's your why? And it's really true. But yeah, I think that purpose, like, it guides your decision making so that you can be more aligned with who you are and the vision for your life. And so whenever you get that clear sense of purpose, then it's easier to just navigate life and the challenges. And you can understand what matters to you most. And then I think it creates motivation and drive, which can be powerful. It can be a big motivator. Mm-hmm. So it can help you to keep pushing forward, even though you face obstacles, and it makes you more resilient and persistent.
It's definitely like bigger than just like a desire. It's something you're like responsible to.
Yes.
Accountable to. And I would say a lot of people probably struggle and don't know what their purpose is. And maybe they hadn't put much thought in it. Maybe they don't feel validated that they need to have a purpose.
Yeah.
But I can say from my own experience, when I started to realize the purpose was bigger than, oh, this is what Jillian wants, it kind of, like you said, got me out of bed. It got me through the hard times.
Yeah.
The hardest time in my life, the purpose and the mission was really what kept me going with Fit Flavors.
Yeah. My favorite verse, I think yours too. I just saw it's your tagline in your closing of your signature on your emails, but Romans 5:3. And it states, not only so, but we also glorify in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character hope. And that's the verse that hit me whenever I had two big life events, I think, I'd like to think is like my testimony. The first one was in 2009. I think I told you about my rock rappelling story. I was out in Tennessee in college, my undergrad, and I free fell. I went rock rappelling, and the guy set my rope up wrong, and I went free fell down a mountain, a ledge essentially, that I shouldn't have survived. And I thought that I died. I blacked out. My bone came through my arm. I have 9 pins in a plate. I was air vac'd out of that situation. But I really believe I saw an angel that day, Jillian, there before I went down the mountain. I have pictures of it and everything. And it's like, yep, I remember the angel being there. I remember being so calm and so present and so relaxed and peaceful before I went down that mountain. And the guy had a heart attack on the way up to help save me. He went in the air vac. He went on the helicopter ride too with me. We went together. And I woke up in the hospital. I was alive after surgery. But that was my biggest purpose as to why I wanted to become a PT, to help others. I had a really bad physical therapy experience after. I was put back in a room on a timer and just like left alone. And I feel like I just wasn't getting the best care. And I was like, I got better care for people. So that's what drove me to become a PT. That was my first purpose from God. And then my second one I'd say is like just this Irish twin like thing of not being able to have, I don't think I ever really created resilience. I was just go, go, go mode. And so having those two boys on somebody who's a planner like me and a control freak like me, it was also another thing is like, life gets messy, Ashley, how are you going to deal? And then that's how this whole thing emerged and why I'm so passionate about it. But my stuff is like passion projects. Like, it is a passion project, ladies. Like, so, I think that purpose gives great meaning to life because this is what I'm doing in my life because of the things that have happened. But I had to suffer first to persevere. And then now I'm creating character. So I think that, it's huge and it really just enhances your experience in life instead of just getting by.
Do you feel like you made the connection after the first experience, your first testimony? You feel like you made that connection in your mind go with your verse in Romans? Did you realize you suffered, then you had hope, and then you developed character from that experience? Do you know that?
Yes.
So when you went through it a second time, was it recognizable? Did it look the same? Did you see it? What did it help you get through it quicker?
It took a minute for me to see it again. I'm pretty stubborn, I'd say. I think that I didn't really see that until, I don't know, probably this last 2.5 years ago is whenever I think I started to recognize like, wow, this is another thing. Like this is another story. This is another suffering, perseverance story, Ashley. So yeah. And then what am I going to do with it? How am I going to take
sometimes
this
when
on?
you're going through something, you can't see. Like, it's like you have eyes, but you can't see. You have ears, but you can't hear. Until you become present enough in your situation, can you take a step back and look through the lens of God and see through his perspective what maybe he's teaching you, showing you, leading you to.
Yeah. Because whenever you're in tunnel vision, once again, sympathetic state, right?
Yeah.
You're in survival mode. You're in tunnel vision. All you can see is forward.
That's why I feel like it's so important to have quiet time. Like when you process your thoughts and give yourself some time.
Yes.
That's why I spend so much time in prayer and journaling, is because those times when I'm writing, sometimes God will speak to me there and I get like an aha moment. And it's helped me through so much of my tough times, So that's always a tip too. Like if you feel like you're going through something, just start writing down. Like you don't even have to write anything specific. Like just start writing. Yeah. Write about how you feel. Write about what you want. Write about what you want to change, and you will see something emerge from that. Yeah. It's a practice and it's a discipline. It's a discipline. So like when you show up to write, you're showing up for yourself to get things out of your head and on paper, and that's when you'll start to see some motion come, but we don't slow it down enough to actually work through that process.
Yeah, journaling is definitely a powerful tool. I think it really, like you said, helps you find your purpose in life. And like, it's a structured way to reflect your thoughts, right? Yeah. Your emotions, your experiences.
You know what's funny is I've kept a lot of my journals and I'll go back and I read them, and sometimes they're such just they don't even make sense. I'm like, what am I writing? Like, it was almost like I was pouring out thoughts and tears and fears or whatever. And then I go back years later and I'm like, I can't even understand what I wrote. Like, I was like, it didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
It's weird. Some of them. And then other times I could see I was in a really good spot or a really bad spot.
Yeah. I think you and Chelsea are the best journalers I've ever met. You know?
Chelsea's pretty, what's the word? Mindful.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think it just helps to help you find your alignment with like your deeper sense of self, you know? So, and two, like, what are people's goals? I think sometimes whenever you don't like journal and give a minute of quiet time and time for you, you have no idea what you are going to be accomplishing in the next like month or 5 years, you know? So I think it's super important. It also fosters gratitude, you know, and meaning. And then two, like we said, it just deepens that connection with your inner self. So
it also clarifies and gives you like structure. So I can think like with this is just like a personal thing. Like I have a personal goal with my golf game. And I've got very strategic with writing down my specific golf goals, what I'm going to achieve and how I'm going to get there. And so by doing that, I've created a practice plan and certain things I need to execute on. And so I feel organized. I don't feel like, how am I going to get there? I feel like, well, I got a plan. I'm going to do the best job I can. I mean, I can't obviously control the outcome. I might not hit my goal, but I have a plan and I'm going to show up. And now I feel so much more confident in the process of chasing this golf goal that I feel very grounded. I know exactly what's happening for the next 3 months. And then I got to reset for the season. Like I'm in the off season right now. And so by writing it out in my journal and processing all my thoughts and I've even started having to keep like a golf specific journal. So after I play, I journal my performance, like what was good, only the positive things. So what did I learn today? Maybe that's where the negative will go, but it's like written in a positive way. And then what I did well today. So it's just reinstating everything I did well to like imprint in my brain.
Yeah.
And then I set like a goal statement. And so by doing that over and over and over again, I'm reminded of the positive things I did on the course and the things that I learned. And so it helps shift your mind. So I feel very like I'm really enjoying this space, this mind space that I'm in with my game because it feels, one, I love it. It's like a brand new challenge, you know, it's like something I'm chasing. So, and trying to get organized around it.
Instead of just going and golfing, processing
Which I did for years. I did for years. I just would go out there and I would just go. Like now, when I go out there, I have a plan and I have like a system to run. And I just feel so much more put together and organized as a player and competitor. And so it's been an awesome process to learn.
I love watching you do it all. Don't you think sometimes too, like we don't want to deal with those emotions that like fear, anxiety, pain. We don't want to deal with some of those emotions. And a lot of us, I think, are like overthinkers. I'm very guilty of being an overthinker and being all in my head. You know?
Analysis of paralysis kind of thing?
Yes. But then like the journaling almost helps you to deal with some of those things that are going on in your heart, your emotions. So it's like this time of connection to step back from your brain, from your overthinking and like connect you back to your body and your heart and really have to process some of those emotions that are uncomfortable.
Well, this is true with the brain. I only know this because I went to therapy. But when you're like in a fear, whatever lobe in your brain is like in freak out mode, you can't actually make a logic decision. You can only operate in fear. And so a lot of times it's a reactionary, not thought through decision that you're about to make. So a lot of times if you can calm your mind, calm the fear, slow down, you're more inclined to make a logical decision. Correct.
In that frontal lobe.
You never want to make a decision when you're in a fearful, freaked out mode. And that could also probably create some like sympathetic.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to be calm when you're, so like now, like at work, I'm so much better at this. If I get pissed off, frustrated, something bad happens. Like something happened today before the podcast. I got a call about something where I would typically, oh my gosh. And I'm like, this is no big deal. I'm going to handle this. Like I'm just so much more grounded now. So I just listened to the person, listened to the entire situation, thought of how I was going to handle it, called the right person. I even delegated it. I probably won't even have to handle it. Like it was a non-event, you know?
Awesome.
And so like just calming down will help you make a better decision.
Yeah, definitely. I have a challenge for the listeners. It's an exercise. Sorry, guys. When you awake, I want you to think about one thing that you're grateful for. Or at dinner time, whenever you're around your family, make everybody go around and say one thing they're grateful for. Be great for your family to also note that. And then this month, I want you to write out 3 goals for the new year, whether those are short-term or long-term goals. And I'm going to leave the audience with this. Happiness is a moral obligation, and working on yourself is the most valuable thing that you can do for others. Instead of being itself for me, really helping you is going to help others. And that's what we're here for on earth. You know, that's our commitment. Is
you
to
mean
use us
helping
as a
others is
vessel.
going to help you?
Working on yourself is going to help others.
I see what you're saying.
So
Okay.
if you're like, for me, I was irritable, agitated, and anxious with my kids, and would just a short circuit, my bandwidth was shortened. And I would go off on them if they did something. And that's not fair to them. Or just the fact of like my perfectionism that used to eat me alive. I would say the other people weren't up to my standards. And Dr. Williams taught me this one. They weren't up to my standards, and I was just frustrated with them. And I just would cut them off, you're cutthroat. And that she's like, that's not fair to other people just because they're not up to your standards. Like you have to love on all and love on them too, instead of just being rude to them and just thinking like that they, but that was a lot of driven from my own short bandwidth of the lack of sleep and the lack of filling my vessel back up,
Wow. Well, good friend for calling you out on that.
Yeah,
I'm like, I never saw that in you. I probably would have said that too. I've never seen that in you, but
thanks, friend.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today. Me and Ashley kind of riffed here. It was a lot of a good conversation. Stay tuned. We still have 1 more week to go. Next week, we're going to be talking about biohacking tools to support energy and detox. As you guys know, this podcast is sponsored by Fit Flavors, your first resource in healthy eating. We'll catch you next time.